enhance your livelihood is like a glass eye which does not see. So it's no good to have education just to study what others have done and to mimic and retell that story. That is not good enough. That is not education. Education is learning. Learning means you learn to create, you learn to innovate, you learn to invent, you learn to be entrepreneur, to create jobs, things like that, to employment, things and solve problems. Problem solver you become, not problem creator. Something like that is what we need. We need a completely new education paradigm, which actually focuses on learning rather than studying. Studying what others have done is okay, but it's not good enough. It's not sufficient. It may be necessary, but not sufficient. Learning is when you actually create something new from what you've actually studied or what you have read and done and experimented and so on. Something like that's what we need. Also, we need to also the future is not some place we're going, but one we are creating. The African future is not just where we go here and there, but it must be the Africa we create. The paths to it are not found, but made. And the way activity of making them changes both the makers and the destination. So we ourselves, the young people, we are makers, we are doers, we must change. And not only when we change, we also change our destination, our Africa. That's what we need to do. I just want to give you a concrete example of a young South African. So in South Africa, when it's scary what you hear in the country, which is a very nice, beautiful country. It's got many sources, many very very good ideas, great philosophies like Ubuntu. Many things have come from South Africa, but for some peculiar reason, the politics is too dirty. What we hear of the newspapers and everything every day is very discouraging. At least me, I get discouraged. I don't know very much. But then we should be really discussing and be highlighting this kind of very fascinating discoveries that young people do. Look at this young man. He's a very, only when he was 17 years old, he invented. Can you imagine? His name is Ludwig Marchine. A very inspiring recent African innovation came from a young South African, Ludwig Marchine, who invented waterless bathing lotion when he was 17 and was awarded the Global Student Entrepreneur of the Year award in 2011. 10 years ago, the lotion is revolutionary to prevent various diseases due to lack of sanitation. His invention is promoting water saving around the world and is providing people with limited access to water cleanliness. He did it with an allowance of 50 Rand, which is nothing almost, a previous generation cell phone, and Ludwig researched and invented the lotion's formula, which is now patented. Can you imagine? He did it when he was not graduating. In the later, he did his graduation after he got his patent. Can you imagine? This is the African. So we Africans, trust me, if we apply ourselves, we're geniuses. Sincerely speaking, don't listen to all these people who denounce Africans as if they don't know anything. Look at this young man. He's great inspiration. You see? Don't fail to do education for innovation at all to address the current global risk of massive job losses. It's extremely important also with this new generation, new virtual world. From the physical world, we're moving to the virtual world, the virtual universe. And then Africa now is in a great challenge because we have been losing jobs from the first, the second, the third industrial revolution. But are we also going to lose jobs now with this current digital technology? And if we do that, what kind of education or innovation do we need to address this is very, very important. So I suggest for Africa, Africa must move away from seeking foreign solutions for African problems anymore. Let's try to, as his young Ludwig did it, let's try to find, for sanitation. He found it not just for Africa, for the whole world is now using what he invented. And he did it when he's so young, 17 years old. We can solve problems also, all of us, in every sphere in Africa, including the current COVID-19. We could do many things ourselves if we say, how could we also solve our problems? How could we address any challenges? So any challenges, we mustn't outsource it. we must try to also discover ourselves. When we can't do it, we can always collaborate. There's not a problem. Collaboration is very, but not to sell out all our problems outside and then ask others to solve it. And then what they bring in, we take. What we create ourselves, we reject. We should stop that. Time now to undertake the innovation of African solutions and opportunities to address all the challenges. Very, very important now to come to that. Africa must have the innovators to stop copying, but to learn to create, to invent and innovate. Make Africa's innovative present and future. We must make Africa's innovative the present and future. Must be that, not something that we take innovation from outside. Not just wish for it to come. We should do it now, not tomorrow. Not good enough to have abundant natural mineral resources. Others gain, with Africa losing as always. So we have so much natural resources, but who uses it? Others, not us. So we should now use the current technology to actually add value to our own resources and also make Africa first achieve it, and then whatever it is, it's not a problem to share with the rest, but not not in the current pattern where we send all our minerals and our raw materials and our every resources, then others take advantage and we lose. We lose, they gain. This kind of thing is also not good. Not good enough to have abundant natural resources, and when others gain and we lose. The African youth must become change makers and game changers in the current digital explosive technology time. The youth is the most important. You are the critically important. You must now engage very seriously to actually address all the challenges Africa has had for many, many thousands of years. And now we should really be problem solvers, not problem creators, innovators, not just imitators and mimickers. No. Curiosity you should have. Sense of wonder you should have. Skepticism for any problem to solve, not to reject, but to find solution, you must have. To make new things, trying new things, learning, living, pushing oneself, changing one's world. Be prepared to doing the things that have never been done before. Go for promoting after learning what it is, and know when you do it, you are finally doing something relevant and long overdue to innovatively solve all problems in Africa. As Matthews told me, innovatively solve Africa's problems. Now, Africa's resource scenario. Look at Africa. What don't we have? Look all of Africa. The minerals we have. Huge minerals all over Africa. Look at what we have. If we have all these minerals, all right, and now we bring in the new technology and apply it and change all these minerals, rather than now selling them, outsource them, and then ask others to manufacture them, and then send it back to us at a higher value. What we create, no. We create cocoa, they create the Swiss, and others create chocolate. This is wrong. We should also create some value now, our own manufacture, from all these huge resources. Can you imagine? Africa will be the richest continent on this world. No African should be poor. No African should be a beggar. No African should be shelterless. All right? Everyone should be, trust me, everyone should be having a genuine, good standard of life. Even that's what we should be doing, because the resources we have is incredible. But we don't use it, we don't apply it, we don't even own it. And our politics is horrible. The greatest human stupidity is the African politics. The leadership is also completely horrible. Seriously, I'm sincerely telling you, it's not right. What we should have is leaders who serve the people, who serve Africa, not leaders who just are interested for their own pocket and they just work money, corruption, and create all kinds of crazy situations. This is not nice. And you see it everywhere, in all parts of Africa. I mean, in the country where I was born, I'm always suffering now. Trust me, Sometimes I'm in tears all the time. With the way they kill people, we've never heard from anywhere how they are doing it. And the politics, I don't know why they are playing this politics in the, of all places, Ethiopia, the country that should have been the pride of Africa, because it has never been colonized by all these Europeans. But look what's happening to us. So that's the situation. I'm just telling you that the Industrial Revolution, in this Industrial Revolution journey, the first one, look what has happened in the first one. Yeah, we didn't solve our water problem, our steam problem, our mechanical manufacturing problem. None of these facilities, we created them in Africa. In the second one, we did not have electricity powered. We still have rural areas in Africa. We still don't have electricity. In fact, in the country where I come from, Ethiopia, there's a big conflict now. The Grand Renaissance Dam. Why is it? Because it will produce something like 60% of the population. It not only for Ethiopia but the whole region. It will produce huge electricity, but they are fighting for water and everything like that. And then the Industrial Revolution again, the third Industrial Revolution, we have IT, information technology. We still have challenges again. Now we are in the fourth Industrial Revolution, where we have all kinds of really incredible Internet of Things, blockchain. What don't we have now? So many interesting technologies are happening. So now the Industrial Revolution, the fourth Industrial Revolution, is powered by a whole range of exponential technologies with potential to change our world as we know it now. If in this change, is Africa going to lose or change? Or is it going to be in the dilemma it went through the first, the second, and third Industrial Revolution? We need to move from this change to change the lives, to impact the disciplines, the economics, the industry, the jobs, the relationship, and the entire region of Africa must be transformed. This is what we should be working on, not doing political fighting about all this, interpolitical parties, many things like that. No, we should be addressing these issues. We should challenge our ideas, and even we should also challenge what does it mean to be human now? What does it mean to actually be relevant for each other? In other words, what is the point of me valuing my own interests and not valuing all of your interests, all of your values, all what is your safety, your health? That must be, your health must be the wealth that I should also enjoy. That's something we should also do. The fifth industrial revolution is also said to be coming, but everyone says nanotechnology's application is going to be very infinite across with the fourth industrial revolution. So now we're in between the fourth and the fifth industrial revolution. And the interesting question I have now is, will fully developed Africa emerge with this technology, or are we going to lose it again? This is the most important thing. But there is some challenges I want to tell you. In the fourth industrial revolution challenge, is it all challenge, or do we have also opportunity? I read this thing from the United Nations. How true it is, I don't know. But the source is the International Commission on Financing Global Education, Opportunity United Nations General Assembly. It was in 2016. They said 2 billion, or half of all current jobs, are projected to disappear by 2030 due to automation. This is to do with technology. To continue to progress at the current pace, by 2030, half of all the youth, over 800 million young people, will not have basic secondary education level skills needed to keep up in a new economy. It's clear that globalization, advance in technology, changing employment threaten to leave many behind. That's what a negative story I heard. The interesting story I want us to do is, if this technology is going to destroy jobs, how are we also going to use it to innovate new jobs? That is an interesting thing. We must address it. What are we going to lose? What are we going to gain? Which areas we need to focus on? And so on has to be systematically done. So prevent job loss by applying innovative education paradigm shift. Innovatively to solve problems must be included in the education system. How to create innovative graduates that can create jobs when robots take away their jobs must be done. Both education and innovation now have to be reconceptualized and reorganized to address the robotized automotive globalization challenge. How to do them? We need education for innovation and innovation for education, more than at any time now for us here in Africa. So launch the Africa Innovation Revolution, I said. African transition from margins to the mainstream of global economy. Digital technologies playing an increasingly significant role. We need now a digital technology innovation revolution for Africa. African Silicon Valley inspired Silicon Savannah emerging across the continent. We should do that. All right? They do it in the Silicon Valley, the Bangalore in India and others. They are creating hubs, innovation hubs, Silicon Valley types hubs. We need to actually do that. A recent study highlights the existence of about 200 African innovation hubs. Let's now try to evaluate and understand them, see how productive. I know here in South Africa, there's the innovation hub. They sometimes invite me, I go there also. In fact, one of the directors, I examined his thesis also. So we know him. 3,500 new tech related ventures have also been created through this innovation. And there's supposed to be a US 1 billion venture capital to the Pan-African movement of startup entrepreneurs. What we need now is also to develop funding to stimulate all our young people to create new ventures, venture startups. Some of the things I have been discussing with Matthews and Barry and all of them to see if we could, Samson and others, we are thinking how to create even an exemplary model where we can, once we do it in one of the universities, we can do it across South Africa and the rest of the Africa. We're thinking about it. I hope we can create it and we can genuinely do something very, very good. We need to also move, not just innovation. What we lack in Africa is trust. We lack social capital, trust capital, collaboration. We're not good at this. The reason is not because we are not associational people. We're not individualistic, but the problem is because of the poverty and unemployment and many things, people go for crime, for killing each other, for doing all kinds of crazy things. But we need also another innovation revolution. What I call the innovation revolution for social solidarity, for social collaboration, for cultural integration, identity integration, so that Africans can become united, not divided by language, by religion, by all these crazy things that you see, and by color, by all these things. No. Color does not make you your human identity. It doesn't distract it, subtract it, nor does it add it. Some people may use it. That's misuse and abuse. So we must not. You're still human, color or no color. Something like that is what we need to do. Also, among Africans, there should be a real, genuine attempt to unite Africa. So we need a new, also social, from the African Innovation Revolution to social solidarity value integration. We need that. Not only the African Innovation Revolution, but social integration must be achieved. The African Innovation Revolution and this digital fourth industrial revolution could rockstar Africans to unite as one human family. The African Innovation Revolution, digital technologies can be done to help young Africans forge a sense of social solidarity and cohesion so that they can live together with unity, all right, and with trust, with collaboration, all right, rather than fighting each other, competing, and creating all kinds of complications, and trusting those who take advantage of them, going for the money they get to try to hurt their own brothers, and sisters. This is wrong. Stop that. This is what's happening. I hear here, for example, I just said today, a young woman, Ethiopian woman, her age is about 40. She has 3 children, and she has been here in South Africa. She was murdered. I heard this. Can you imagine? And who called me? Her family member from London called me. Please find out, and can you please tell the South African government to see why is this killing happening all the time among these Ethiopians? I think it is to do probably the Ethiopian politics. I have no idea, but that's what we're hearing. Why are they doing this? I have no idea. You see, why do you kill a mother with 3 children? I don't understand. I mean, and understand me, I'm just so hurt by all these things. It's not good. So we could lead to continental integration, enabled by conducive socio-economic and infrastructure infrastructure integration. That's what we should do. So key point, you the youth, you either, if you fail us, Africa fails. If you succeed, Africa wins. Make Africa a winner, not a loser. You are critical. Very, very important. I don't want you to be just moving around, playing games and so on, going to, all kinds of crazy places. No, I don't want you to do that. You see, when I was in university, I never went to all these places, strange places. I always was in the
Prof, you seem to have muted yourself there.
Are you? Okay, yeah.
Sorry, somebody called me. Sorry, I'm nearly going to finish. So please, but this is important because the youth they are very important. While exponential technologies drive force behind the fourth industrial revolution, it should be the African people who must determine the direction it can take. It's very, very full utilization of the African demographic dividend. Our youth is said to be 70% of the entire population of Africa. You are critical. You are the majority. How should we focus on you? You matter to us more than anyone. Please, let's try to make sure that we develop a very strong strategy to make sure that the youth make a big difference for Africa. African youth development is cardinal, placing premium on resilience and employability. Incorruptible leadership capability from you must be developed. From all this corruption we have seen over so many, or nearly 58 years, African Liberation Day on May 25 will be 58 since 1963. Can you imagine? What did we see in Africa? Coup d'etats, all right? Civil wars, many strange things. Why? Corrupt leadership. We want you to take the leadership of Africa. For uniting Africa is critical. Serving Africa is critical. Yeah, Thomas Sankara, all right? Kwame Nkrumah type, Patrice Lumumba, those kinds of leadership qualities we need to have. All right, it's very, very important that we should have. We require rethinking our education system. That's more education system for Africa rather than African education system. Very, very important. We mustn't get education system others drew for Africa. No, we need to create the African education system. We need to contextualize it and build it and make sure we move on. I just want to say to you that never forget the many African scientific contributions. I just want to say to you that so many contributions have been also emerging from Africa, sciences, physics, astronomy, many things. But what has happened, we don't know about it. We are told as if we are inferior. We don't know how to. We haven't created anything. Our ancestors have. No, this is not true. Even long before the European Enlightenment, the African Enlightenment was created, and it was created by a philosopher from Ethiopia. He was, and who recognizes him? European scientists recognized him. They even translated his book by learning the ancient Ethiopian language, which he wrote it from. Yeah, Zara Yacob is his name, a philosopher. Things like that. We also have created an African binary logic mathematics. This is a mathematical system that is for today's entire Internet Explorer and other computer-based systems is based on the mathematical model. That was if you give me about an hour, I can give you a whole explanation about how this mathematical system works. It's fascinating, I'm telling you. And then, in fact, they should give us all this Internet world. You see, this fourth industrial revolution. The basis, the foundation is African. But we don't know it. We don't know it. And nobody educates it, and we hear only the negative things about Africa. So African innovations need to be rebuilding African scientific talent, a return to the pinnacle of innovation, driving towards Neil Turok's postulation. The world's next Einstein will be from Africa. Africa has to reach fully sustainable development level in the industrial revolution time now, without losing it as it did in the first, second, and third. I mean, in the fourth industrial revolution time, I think I should write that one, yeah. The fourth industrial revolution time. Yes. Right. Right. We need to invent in fixing the knowledge and innovation pipeline, revive the indigenous knowledge heritage by putting knowledge into practice, putting Africa first. and make the African innovation system. That we wrote this book in 2003, 18 years, and we are going to revisit it. We're going to have a seminar starting on August 16. I hope you will participate. Be good panels. In fact, I would like some of you to even join and give presentations too, if possible. Now, a few examples of African innovations. The next Einstein Forum initiative of the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences Innovation Products, setting the pace. Somali's Abidjan Dire, who created a blockchain-enabled lending platform in Kenya. Nigeria's Peter Nijed, with nanotechnologies, enabled improved renewable energy and hydrogen-based eye sensor that detects lactose intolerance. South Africa's Wiener Kuze, non-invasive measures of health for malaria detection. So even if you take tech innovation, Africa is becoming a player in the digital revolution. Google Africa, please go through it. Launched Accelerator Africa program launched in Lagos, resulting in 12 startups from 6 countries in promoting. Look at what they are in Nigeria, in South Africa, in all these other places. There's all kinds of new technologies that have been created, and in Uganda. And then in Mali, I have to tell you also some very interesting examples. What has happened?
Johannes,
Yes.
are we going?
Yes. Are you okay?
Are you okay? Yeah, near the bus.
Sorry. Sorry. What's going on?
Hmm?
No, I'll tell you also on Malawi and in all other places we have so many interesting new developments, very interesting, and Kenya.
Hi,
And
Prof.
but I'll give it to you like that. This now I'm just nearly
Hello, Prof. Hello, Prof.
yes, the seed of solution to any problem is in
You
the
have a
problem.
minute more.
Yes.
You have a minute more to round off. Thank you.
Okay. The
Yeah.
I just want to say some practical innovative initiatives from our side. I just want to say that advanced course on creative innovation entrepreneurship I have created. We are doing startup ventures part of the course. We have the African Youth Union Youth for Change program where I'm also advising them. We have the African Talent Hub. We have the African Entrepreneurship Award. We have the Africa 27 Youth Forum for Youth Employment. And we also have the Africa Innovation Week. So we have all these very important things. Let me just conclude now. Education has to be innovative. Innovation has to be educated. Problem solutions, not multiplication for Africa must be done. The youth must engage to solve problems and not add them, to make Africa win in the 4th industrial revolution. There's a need to be smart, green, educationally innovative by solving problems and not using the current exponential technology to create them. Be, do, achieve, and succeed to make all the Africa youth to be innovators, to unite with social solidarity to create fully developed Africa. Reframe the African innovation revolution from start to completion, knowing what to do and not to do, make Africa finally achieve full independence with digital technology. The youth have to make the difference. Go for it. Keep on keeping on forwards and onwards to achieve African full integrated development by putting Africa first. Join us, our Putting Africa First Revisited. I just give you the link, and so go for it. I'm a Segnalo, Asante Sana, and so on. Thank you very much. And please look at all the journals, the African Journal of Science, Technology, Innovation, and Development. So you can look at that. And we have Solar Energy Network, a book. We just produced about 6 books. So we have Science, Technology, and Innovation Indicators, Lessons from the Development Experience in Africa. We also have journals, different journals, the African Journal. So you could also enjoy these books, this work, so that you can also create. Let's just be creative. Let's forget. And we also have the Journal of Science, Creativity, Innovation, Social Entrepreneurship, which is mainly focused on South Africa. And we also have an Ethiopian electronic journal for research and innovation foresight. There are so many journals that I'm involved in working all the time. Oh. And I like more the youth to be very, very dynamic and active and do the best you can and make the future for Africa. Africa must rise. Africa must be the rock star, world #1 economy in the world now during this 4th industrial revolution and digital technology innovation time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you actually gain something, can you just wave your hands to Prof? Prof, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
This is indeed propelling. This is indeed propelling. This is indeed propelling. Professor Mahmoud, the professor of innovation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have actually done a lot this morning here in Nigeria, and it should be afternoon in South Africa also. So without wasting time, we will be going to Q&A session, question and answer. So if there is anybody on the platform and you actually have a question to ask, the professor is here for us. So you can just signify. I will call us. So I have Osoro. I have Osoro here. Do we have any other person? Okay, our Q&A session will just be for 10 minutes. So I have Osoro, I have Matthew. Okay, let's go with Osoro first. Osoro, you are welcome. Let's have your question. Can you please unmute Osoro so that he can ask his question? Hello, Mr. Matt.
Hi, Daniel.
Yes.
Hello.
Can you unmute Osoro so that he can ask his question?
Can certainly try. No, I don't think Asura is there.
Actually, you might have to call the name on the screen. I couldn't find Osoro too.
Yeah, no, neither can I.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Yeah, I've seen it. He's unmuted.
Okay,
Osoro.
you've been unmuted. Just go ahead, please.
My main question is about the future of Africa with the oncoming of robots and how can that be handled?
Okay, the upcoming of robots, the robotic age we are entering now. So what will be the effect on Africa and how can we actually undo it? That's a question for you, Professor. Hi there. So, hello, Professor.
Yes, thank you. Hello?
Yes, he's asking a question on the effect of robots in Africa and what is the best approach or how can we handle it?
Yeah, very, very good question. The problem now is that, as I mentioned to you, when you use robots, you could lose jobs. The interesting question now is how can we make sure that when we use robots, we also are able to create jobs and not lose and not create a high unemployment.
All right, you like I wish.
So someone is talking, please. I don't. Hello. Can
Okay,
you
go
mute?
ahead. Go ahead. He has been muted,
Yeah.
so go ahead, Prof.
Yes. No. What I think this question is very important because what has happened is that the study people are making is that job loss, this new technology with robotization, job loss, including like this, for example. Now, if you create electrically driven cars, you will not have all these people who drive cars, taxifiers, Ubers, and all these things. If you've driven them, for example, in some countries like Norway and Scandinavian countries, they are now using electric cars. They are not using humans. In fact, once I was in a conference in London, and we had a discussion on this technology, and I was driven electronically. I was fascinated to see there was nobody driving. It's just driven by someone talking, and they know exactly what's going on. The robots, many things like that. What happens, when to stop, when to drive, and so on, electronically. If you do, what happens to those people who have been driving cars and making money through that? If they don't have other jobs, if we electrify all driving, what it means is that these people will be unemployed, and the poverty can come. So what we need to do is we need to find alternative ways by which that's exactly why we need to re-innovate the education system, the training system, and the work world has to be done very systematically to make sure that people do not lose. They actually are engaged. There are many, many other ways that they do. In fact, my suggestion is that nearly all of us must not just do one job. When we get trained, we should do at least minimum 2, 3, 4 types of jobs to be able to do. We should be trained. In other words, the knowledge we achieve must not be very singular knowledge. It must be unified knowledge, the unity of knowledge. It must be transdisciplinary, so that from that, and then the actions must be many. That's why we need to rethink the entire way by which we learn, we do things, and so that whenever we don't do one job, when it's done by robots or other things, we're able also to do. We just don't get forced out, but by the robots. Before the robots kick us out, we also have something else. Something like that is what we need to generate. If we don't do that, that's why our leadership is very poor, because we are not engaged in this. And in every sphere, including the education sphere, we need to actually redesign the whole education system, Africanize it, contextualize it, make it work integrated, work-based learning, and everything like that to make sure that our approach is very well achieved and done, and robots do not become a burden to us. In fact, they become support us to actually make Africa develop. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof. So quickly, Mr. Martz, can you ask your question?
Well, I actually think, Daniel, for the purpose of time, because I see we're a little bit behind, maybe after Camo has spoken, if we've got time, maybe we could ask another question then.
Okay.
I just think for the purpose of time, we should move on.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your understanding. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be moving to the next speaker, and I would like to invite my friend. He's a brother, Adedumola. So you can come up and invite the next speaker. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for the work so far. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Now, without wasting much of our time, I would be introducing to us the wonderful lady we have within our mix. She's awarded the 3rd in the 2020 Tijuana Inter-University Challenge for transport category, 2nd in the 2019 UNISA Research Award, and she is Nkamo Gelang Matloga. If I'm wrong with the pronunciation, just permit me. She is a certified data scientist, an award-winning innovator and entrepreneur. She is the founder of B-Cycle SA and Hunandi Cycle projects. Additionally, Nkamo has been invited to speak to organizations across South Africa, including the UNISA Business Council, to Bella FM, Pretoria News, Green Africa, Women in Tech, Record newspaper. In her free time, she's not working at school or running her business. She loves traveling. She finds peace in nature and joy in meeting new people. Ladies and gentlemen, it's with great honor I present to you the one and the queen we have in our midst, which is Kamo. Thank you, Kamo. You can go ahead.
Before that, I think I would love to seek the permission of the House to invite Mr. Barry to pronounce his name correctly, because I'm sure that a man from Nigeria will not be able to pronounce
I think that is very
And
sad
I'm sure
and
that
very
It's
important.
not correct without pronunciation. So I need someone to please prove him wrong. And I'll put Mr. Barry to do justice to that. Hello, Mr. Barry. Mr. Barry? Oh, okay. Oh, Trust. I think Trust should be able to do justice to this. Trust. Hello, Trust.
They're all scared. It's okay.
No.
How are you?
Very well, be.
Hi all.
Hello.
I actually believe that the best person who can pronounce the name is the Queen herself. So let us give her the platform to collect.
It's Kamukelo Matluha. I was muted. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry I was muted, but it's in Kamukelo Matluha.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm partially right.
You're not correct.
Somebody knows.
So let's get to the deal. Let's get to the deal. Let's have you. Let's get you to the deal.
Thank you so much. If I can please share my screen, Hope. I think you are sharing.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Thanks. Okay. Okay, good day, everyone. Thank you so much for this time. It's such an honor to be speaking here today. I've been very excited for the past few weeks until Prof. Mamamuchi started talking and I was like, what do I get into? But I'm really, really excited to be among such great people. As mentioned, my name is Nkamureleng Madlora. I live in South Africa, Pretoria. Years back, I learned the idea that the way we behave is due to certain circumstances that we have experienced in the past, or maybe still experiencing today. This applies to me as a person who you know as Nkamukheleng is made up of everything that has happened in the past. Also as a country and as a continent, the Africa that we know today happened because of what happened in the past. I mean, we describe ourselves the way we do today because of what happened in the past and what's still happening today. So to share a little bit about myself and give you some context, I was raised by a single mother, and the rest of her family, her loving family. Yeah, when I think of unemployment in South Africa, it hits home really, really more than you can imagine, because I grew up seeing my mother search for a job for a very long time. And when I mean search for a job, I mean actively getting certified in different things and getting licensed or other ways of upskilling so that she can get a job that will be sustainable and would help her take care of us. And it took her almost 13 years, if not more, for her to actually find that job that can actually sustain our lives. So you can imagine the fear that started growing in me that I would really want to work really hard and choose a career that people don't know about, with less competition, but it's a need, so that I actually get employed immediately and help my mother out. So I chose microbiology and biochemistry. I thought that's probably a need for South Africa, and not a lot of people choose that. So you can imagine the trauma that I got when I met some people that graduated from the same course, and it's been 6 months and over a year and they're still looking for a job. And I thought I chose the perfect career to go with, a career that there's not a lot of competition. So I think gracefully, God just knew what's in my heart, and I got an opportunity to change careers. I went into data science. I got a learnership. I studied at Explore Data Science Academy, and I interned for Telkom. Then I was absorbed, and it's been great. I've felt very fortunate and blessed. And then, but at the back of my mind, I still knew that people are still searching for jobs. People are still getting certified in different areas, but still looking for work out there. And I had a desire to come up with something that helps people actually get employed. So in 2019, I entered a research challenge, and the ceremony, that's where I got my award. The ceremony was combined with the Innovation Awards ceremony. This is at the University of South Africa. And during the Innovation Awards, there were 10 people that were awarded, and they got seed funding for their innovation. And in those 10, all 10 of them were men. None of them were women. So in my mind, I was like, next year I need to be part of that 10, and I can't be the only female in that 10. I have to be with people. Other females need to know that there's actually money going out there for ideas, because I'm pretty sure that women are very innovative as well. So So I prepared for the next year. I actually starting businesses to create, with the aim of creating jobs, because I still had that desire of creating jobs. And I started a whole lot of things that didn't work out, but we learn as we go. So the next year I was ready for that innovation challenge. I then applied, and I used an app idea where I designed an app that would help people with ideas, good business ideas, and also where to upskill in terms of what's needed today. And also, where are the jobs currently, who's hiring and who are they hiring, so that people can align themselves with what's happening out there and actually get jobs. And then, unfortunately, that idea was rejected. Sadly, I was so sad because I already imagined myself with the top 10 innovators there. So I thought, and the nice thing is that they responded and told me why they rejected me. And I don't know if they clicked like a couple of times sending that email, but I got the same email like 10 times telling me why they rejected my idea. So it stuck into my head. And I started researching, and I found out that there's actually a lot of platforms that help people with that. But then I thought, but why are people not getting jobs still? Because I still have friends that are looking for jobs and they have their masters and their honors. And then I thought maybe we're going the wrong way. Maybe I should just focus on actually creating those jobs. So the next, a few maybe days after that, I saw the Inter-University Challenge, the Tshwane Inter-University Challenge, and they had 4 categories. And I thought, irrespective of those categories, I have to use this opportunity to actually create jobs. The categories were water and energy, waste management, revenue collection, and transport. And when I looked at all those categories, I knew that there is a problem and a need in all those categories. When you look at water and energy, just 2 years ago, Cape Town almost ran out of water, like clean. And there's other cities that also followed and had water problems. Then you look at energy, we get load shedding like it's nothing in South Africa. I'm sure South Africans can relate. I don't know, in the rest of the continent, I do know that water is a problem. Then we have waste management. Every township in South Africa has like a dumping site in it. And that was a problem. And I knew about that because I grew up in different townships. And then there was revenue collection. This one I was not really interested in because, I mean, people should pay their taxes. Okay, let's just leave it there. People should pay their taxes. With transport, this one was one I could relate to the most because I traveled from Pretoria North to Pretoria South, Centurion. So I had to travel through town. And I don't know if there is any city that doesn't have traffic, but for a 45 minutes drive, it would take me 3 hours during peak time. If I was late, if I don't hear my alarm, it would be a terrible day. Besides getting stuck in traffic for 3 hours, even if you get to work in time, it's just that stress that you just don't want. So I came up with an idea because actually when I was going into town, I found that people park their cars just outside town and then they take the bus into the CBD. And I thought people can actually leave their cars at home if there was another option of not getting stuck into traffic. So I had an idea of coming up with an app that would integrate public transport so people can just plan their journey to work and also figure out which transport is available for them at that time and get to work. But when I saw the design of our city, I thought that would not work because public transport is segregated. You find the train at the south of the city and the taxis at the north of the city. And the buses are actually the only ones that get into the city, but also a few roads. So you wouldn't find people leaving their cars and then struggling to get to work. So that's when I decided to add bicycles to this idea that people, when they get to town, they can rent their bicycles and they will maneuver easily in town. So the idea was just to make traveling to town a little bit more easy. Somebody's not muted.
Sorry for that.
If you can mute, please. So I thought of this idea and I thought this idea is gonna work. Everybody can relate to traffic. And if there's somebody who's trying to deal with that, I'm sure that everybody will go for that idea. And I went and presented my idea and I came third, which I was very excited for. I think even coming up with the awards encouraged me to actually push. It wasn't the money, but it was the fact that actually people trusted me and I could start. And from there, I just went on and I was so excited. I kickstart my business. So a few months down the line, I saw somebody who was searching our bin just outside the gate. And then I was aware of people who collect plastics from people's bins and then they take it in for cash. And then I thought of that waste that I thought of in the beginning with this project. And I thought, wow, if half of plastic was recycled in South Africa, actually, there would be such a huge difference. If there's more people that invest in businesses that deal with that, it would be a huge difference. I know that we can't just close plastic production because a whole lot of people would lose their jobs. And that is not what I'm trying to do. It's actually the opposite. So I decided that what if I built my bicycles from plastic and there would be plastic bicycles? I know that doesn't sound right, like plastic bicycles, like doesn't sound tough, but imagine riding bicycles in town and cleaning the streets at the same time. People are making money from that, you're creating jobs, and also the community changes. So the idea of introducing bicycles and plastic made bicycles or waste plastic, it doesn't only reduce pollution, doesn't only help people or reduce traffic and help people maneuver in the CBD, not only make people fitter. Actually, if South Africans start riding bicycles and we have a problem of weight, so people would benefit a whole lot. But what I'm thinking about is the culture that will develop from that. Now the CBD is not full of traffic and walls, it's full of people walking and riding bicycles. The community and the culture that we have as South Africans would change. But also people are gonna get jobs. I'm still working on, it's very hard to actually get just the right texture for your bicycle to be strong enough. But I know, and I have a feeling it's really gonna work and it's really gonna change.
Come on, we've got 3 more minutes to go.
So yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening to my story. But in case you're not a story person, I'll summarize for you. I got your back. We as a continent come from a very complicated past, which is most of the time oversimplified and summarized. We need to unpack how and why we do things, why we do politics the way we do, why we learn and school the way we do. Why do we actually want degrees? Why do we want to study further? Why do we desire the things that we desire? We need to be aware of why we behave the way we do in order to move from the colonized mentality to actually building our continent. We have needs all around us that need to be met. They need someone to come up with a solution. And if we think of someone out there who will come and solve our problems and hire us, we are not intending to meet those needs. Africa needs to build itself, and we are Africa. Thank you so much for listening.
It's really a good time hearing from a female perspective, the actual spirit and passion for creating the real system and the real Africa that we really desire. More or less like Prof said the other time, that we need to be solution creators and not just consumers alone. So if there's anyone with any question for Camo, please can I just see you signify right up?
Hi. Let me see.
Yeah.
I also think we have a question on the chat.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hold on, please. I think we have a question on the chat first. Are you there with me?
Can hear him out.
Please just hold on. Camo, are you with me?
Yes.
All right, fine. Yeah, we got a question. It says, how can Africa make a just transition to a flourishing and all-encompassing digital economy?
Yeah.
That for me?
So, okay. Yeah, thank you so much for that question. I
Okay.
actually, when I was preparing this, I Googled African innovation, the different things that people are innovating. And there's one in particular that inspired me, and it was somebody who came up with a shoe that you can charge your phone with. And I thought that's probably the same mechanism that I saw somewhere where they have roads that are made up of stuff that generate electricity. And I thought this person used the same idea for what he's experiencing around him, what people around him actually need. And I think it goes back to that.
Come on, you with us?
Hello?
Hello, Kamo? Oh.
Kamu? Oh. Right.
I guess we lost that there. Hello, Kamo? And please,
Hello? Can I speak while Kamu is?
Okay, let's hear you out. Let's hear you out.
Yes, I'm still on the just transition.
Okay.
I heard Kamu spoke about energy, materials, waste, and solving Africa's problem in general. And I think what we always forget as Africans when we are introduced or we are applying a technology that is supposed to be a revolutionary technology is we always forget our people. We get captured by the technology and exploiting it either for economic value or something else otherwise. However, what I love about our generation is that there's a new level of consciousness whereby we are thinking locally, we are no longer thinking globally. When we think locally, it means that we start solving our immediate problems. And then what emerges from the solutions that we come up when we solve our immediate problems is that we realize that these are actually global solutions or solutions that can be applied to any other place in general. Now, in that way, it means that we can be able to export our own unique African solutions to the world and offer something to the world. Thinking about Kamu's idea, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, I can hear you. So what's the question?
To Kamu's idea,
okay,
in terms of just transition and technology and everything else, was the fact that this is a problem that is solving a problem in the city or in an urban area. What is another opportunity for Kamu's idea is rural transportation, especially scholar transport, which is something that I think most people don't know that South Africa has a problem with. I grew up in a rural area, went to rural school. I think this is a solution that can be applied there.
Okay. All right. So I think it will be fine if we put all of this, most of this conversation around in a panelist section, and then that will make it much more interactive so that we don't stay off course. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Mr. Barry.
Yeah, hello.
All right, Mr. Barry, are you there?
Oh, yes, I am.
Please, I think we're unable to get Kamo right there. Please, can you just give?
Sorry.
Okay, you're there. I think we lost you. We lost you. Can you just give the last remark as regards that question, so we'll move on?
I'm really sorry with
Thank
that. I didn't hear the question, but I think I got cut off with the last one. So
yeah, just give a remark on the last one.
So my main point is that we use our knowledge to actually develop the surrounding that we're in. A lot of people want to actually maybe move out from where they are to better environments or to towns or whatever. But what if we develop the places that we actually in and people that are around us, and everybody's mentality is no longer to go to school and get a degree, but actually develop their environments and actually make a living from what they do. Thank you so much.
Awesome. 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 So I think we really appreciate that comments right there. And I think it's the high time we move down to the panel sections, and then we have things got down, and then we still have a whole lot of stuff to cover. So Daniel, it's up to you.
Okay. So without trying to be rude, what I would say is, because we've got the 2 panel discussions and we're tight for time, if we keep each panel discussion down to 15 minutes, the first one 15 minutes, second one 15 minutes, because the panelists have also given us their time. And then at the end, if we have any time for questions for anybody, people can ask them. So if we do 15 and 15, and then, yeah, we'll be back on track.
All right, thank you very much for that clarification, Mr. Ma. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be moving to the panel session now. And the panelists will be discussing some set of questions. And if you had in one way or the other come across our flyer, you would have seen questions for discussion. However, the discussion will be grouped into 2. So we will be coming up with the first one now. And in the first question, we want to look at why is the world moving forward when Africa appears to be moving backward? What is the problem? Why is it? A lot of continents are actually improving. The countries in this continent are moving forward, but Africa seems to be moving backward. Let's underline the word seems to be moving backward. We understand the fact that there are some countries that actually taking steps. However, few countries taking steps will not actually put the whole of Africa at the forefront. So the essence of this webinar is to come up with a general view of all countries in Africa so that we can move the continent forward. So the second one, we will be talking at how can we decolonize education in Africa? I think the prof and Kamo has actually talked about it, but it's time we will be hearing from our panelists. And for the first session, we'll be having 4 panelists. We will be having 4 panelists. So the first person we have, I will be introducing them now. We have Ojo Aderemi, he will be part of the panelists. Then we have Trust, we have Caroline, and we have Solomon. I hope they are all here. So I will be starting with Ojo. I will be starting with Ojo. So Ojo, can you please tell us in few minutes, maybe in 1 minute, 30 seconds or so, why is Africa seems to be backward when the whole world, the other continents in the world are moving forward? What is the real challenge? Ojo, you can come on board. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, I say, to the organizers for inviting me. The question is, why is the world, does it look like the world is moving forward while Africa is moving backward? So we need to contextualize the problem. You said in 1 minute, 30 seconds, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, I hope I'm able to do that. First of all, we need to understand that in context of the aspiration of our leaders at independence and the kind of mistakes they made. And some of these mistakes, we are yet to recover from them, and we're still trying to find answers or even learn if we made any mistakes at all. We're talking about a continent that has been through a period at its beginning where its political system was built around the charisma of individual leaders. We're talking about a continent that has had the inability to endure opposition, leaders who have been unable to endure opposition. And, 90% of our problems come from leadership. That's my view. Yes, individual can also make their contribution, but do not forget the government that built the army, that built the universities and the roads and what have you. So this is where we are coming from. And the lessons I feel we should learn from them, we haven't started learning enough. We haven't started learning lessons from the shortcomings of the leaders at independence. We had a period of military rule, and then we had a time when money was being siphoned from the economy, and then now Africa has a lot of resources the world wants, yet we are not trying to build them up. So I'm trying to simply summarize what is the answer to the question you asked, but I feel I should explain for some minutes if I will have that opportunity.
Okay, Mr. Joe, based on our time, will a minute be enough? Will a minute be enough just to add to what you want to say? I know you actually need a whole lot of minutes to explain, but based on the time we are working on, I feel you've talked about the first point is leaders, our leaders, the mistake they've made in the past, and the current mistake, have they actually learned it? So what else do you actually have? Okay, okay. I will still be coming back to you.
Proposal. Okay.
Okay. Just go ahead,
I was saying that, yes, I was saying I will simply make proposals regarding the things that I feel can be the solution to the problems, why we can start looking forward and start developing in accordance with the pace of the world, of our colleague countries and colleague continents and regions across the world. I feel that we young people need to start mobilizing themselves. We need a lot of that energy in politics. Bill Clinton was the one who said it. I would like to paraphrase him. It's the politics, stupid. So we need to start mobilizing our energy toward taking part in the leadership of a country, but you cannot lead without understanding the problem. So I suggest that we start to study the problem and preferring solution before we enter power. That's preparing to take charge and not thinking about what's the solution to the problem when you have the power already, which has been the problem since the turn of the millennium. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. That is so touching. You made mention of studying the problem. And while Kamo was talking, I think that was one of the main points she was trying to stress, how that she sat down and tried to understand the problem people are passing through around her to provide solution. And you talked about leaders not identifying the problems before going into leadership. So as youths of Africa, one of the things I think Ojo is telling us is even before we think of occupying leadership position, we need to know the problem so that when we get to the position, we not just be looking for the problem, and a lot of time will have been wasted on that. Thank you very much, Ojo, for that contribution. So Trust, can we have you in 1 minute, 30 seconds also? What do you think is the problem is, aside from what Ojo has said, leadership? What is the problem? Why is Africa seems to be moving backward while other continents are moving forward? Trust, you are on board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. And without repeating, I think there were important questions that were raised from the attendees. One came from Abibo, when he asked, without a good education system, how can we innovate? So automatically, I took that question as an answer to the problems. The reason why Africa seems to be moving backward is because our education system is still westernized. The framework that we use does not fit the problems that we have in Africa. That's why we seem to be going backward, because you go to tertiary education, graduate, but when you come back, you can't apply those skills because what we have on the ground is not what we have been taught. The second one was how are we going to make African youth to be involved in leadership positions, whereas there's a lot of corruption? This was asked by Ramasimu. So when he asked this question, it came to me, the only solution which we have is we as youth, we need to vote. We need to exercise the right to vote as youth, because we are not voting. We are letting our mothers, our fathers, and grandparents to decide the future of Africa. So the more we start participating in high volumes, the voter turnaround, it will also assist us in making decisions. So since I have limited time, I'm going to pause there in two key things to say. Let's exercise the right to vote as young Africans, because that is where we need to start to change the policies. The second one is we need to work on the educational framework that we have to make it effective to our own standards. So that is the only way we can move forward as a continent. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Trust. That is wonderful. And I think the prof also made reference to that when he was talking about education. Our education should be for innovation and innovation for education. I think that is a germane point, because the truth is we are bringing up little generations now that will be coming on board even after us. So what they meet on ground is what they are going to build on. We also, it's what we meet on ground we are building on. So a change in the system of education. I think the next question we will actually be dealing with that. So, but before we go to the next question, Caroline. Hello, Caroline. She's the only lady in this set. So in this set of panelists, Caroline, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, let's have your take on why Africa seems to be moving backward.
Good afternoon. I hope it's afternoon everywhere now. So in this question, we are asked why Africa appears I think we are just okay, but the problem is here in Africa, Africa appears to be a very poor continent, but if we just be keen and look at it very well, Africa is very rich. The problem in Africa is mostly amongst us youths. We tend to trust wrong people, just as like Prof. Mamo said earlier. As youths, we get to be very innovative. We come up with new idea, new skills. We create a lot of new things. But the problem is when these things come to get out there, wrong people come to us as youths, talk to us, try to convince us, and they buy our skills, our new ideas. Now here, as youths, we will give out our idea in maybe we will find it very enticing, being bought. So they tell us good things, nice things in a short period of time. They give us some amount of money. They go away with our skills and we get to remain poor just from where we were. Instead of going ahead as youths, I think we are supposed to be empowered on how to get to tackle our things. When we come up with new ideas, we are supposed to be very, very keen on people we tend to trust. Another thing is people in power. They tend to take advantage of us as youths, because somebody in power will come and tell you a few things, will get cold feet, you will not be able to go on. Maybe this person is feeling threatened by our innovations or our new ideas. So people in power tend to take advantage of it. Another thing is competition, unhealthy competition amongst us youths. Some places, other youths, I could call it jealousy because I could come up with a new idea.
Wow, I think we lost her. Hello, or can anybody hear her there?
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, I
Yes,
can.
Hello,
I can hear her.
We can hear
Can
her.
anybody hear her?
I can hear.
Yes, we can hear.
Yeah, we can hear her.
Okay, so I was saying unhealthy competition amongst us youths. We don't tend to support each other. Somebody could be feeling bad about somebody else's new idea. So I think as youth, we're supposed to come together, agree on things. I could come with something, I could also come with something. We're supposed to be talking and agreeing and coming up with a solution that will help Africa move forward. But the problem with us as youths in Africa, we tend to have unhealthy competition. Just as I'll refer to Prof. Mamo, as he said earlier, we're supposed to. Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I think it's Daniel.
Yeah,
it's your
continue.
network.
Hello.
It's your network.
Yeah, please, can you continue? We can hear you very clear. We can hear you very clear. Please continue.
I'm concluding. I'm referring to Professor Mamos. He said we are supposed to come up and with a strategy of developing. We are supposed to come up with how to, as youths, are supposed to come up with good ideas to make our continent move forward instead of slagging behind. Yes, I think I'm done. I'll take the chance to Daniel so that he can continue.
I think we lost Daniel.
It does look like we've lost.
Hello,
Yeah,
Daniel.
Yeah, it looks like we've lost Daniel. So, Adebayo, I don't know if you want.
Okay, I think we'll go to the next person.
Yeah, if Adebayo, if you could perhaps, if we start on the second group, and if we're just looking at time, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, awesome. Let's just do it then.
No, one person has not talked yet.
Yeah, I think that was Forster. Who else was in this group?
Somebody's remained. Foster.
Solomon.
Yeah, Foster is in our group. Foster is in my group.
Foster
is in my group. Yeah, Foster is in my group. Yeah, awesome. I think we need to really actually proceed forward.
Yes, you can come to
our activities for the day. Is anybody there?
Yeah, I'm the group A.
Oh, Solomon.
Okay, Solomon. Yeah, Solomon.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about the issue raised earlier by Daniel, that actually things has been moving forward and others has actually raised an issue? What's your perspective about this issue?
My perspective about that issue is that we need to actually work on the technical and vocational education, which we tend not to place much premium on that. Because looking at it, we are really gearing towards a lot of the grammar studies, we are not really trying to elevate that. But the fact is that if we can grow as a continent, we need to look at our technical and vocational education. We need to support individuals who are doing very well in this area, which we can be more productive. You looking at it, I was also looking at something that somebody mentioned something earlier, that the problem is our leaders, but we shouldn't put all the problems or the blame on the leaders, because we are also part of the issue. In Africa here, a politician is contesting, a politician is campaigning, and the politician who doesn't have money but has ideas end up not winning an election. You understand? Professor Pierre Leluma mentioned something some time ago when he at Kenya, when he was contesting for election, he went there, he spoke to the people, they bought into his idea, they agree with him. But the following day, another person came with a lot of money. And everything that Pierre Lumumba said was rubbish. He couldn't win the election. And he was talking about the attitude of Ghana, of Africa. And it also happened in Ghana here, you see. So sometimes when we don't also change our idea, our perspective with the way we go by things, as Africans, we continue to go backwards. And the other persons or individuals in the other part of the world are making a lot of progress. So we need to do that and also support and leave this kind of issue of the degree, the PhD and all those things. Those things don't actually bring food into our table, but it depends on the products, the outcome of that. In the country here, I know some few people here who are in this country, Ghana, they have not even gotten a degree, not even a diploma, or not even talking about a SS degree or SS certificate, but they are making a lot. Individual like Kwame, that's why in Ghana, we have several individuals. And another thing that can help us as Africans to grow is honesty. You know, there's no trust because you want to, partnership is very important. You know, when you think about the Bill Gates and Paul Allen, they were co-founders, and with Microsoft, they came together, they were able to do a lot. Whenever there are two or more individuals coming together to establish a business, it works effectively. But African, there's a lot of dishonesty. And I do agree with Prof. When initially he was talking about his statement or his presentation, he made mention that some of these things are caused by poverty. That is very true. Because the individuals are not employed, there is a lot of, a lot of unemployment, and it leads into this. So we need to actually work on our technical and vocational studies that very well, because I was so happy about Rwanda. I met Mr. Barry at Rwanda last 2 years, Kigali. It was fantastic. And Kigali, Uganda, they were able to produce their phone. And I was so excited that Rwanda, they give a lot of incentives to individuals who have technical schools because they want to promote that. China is growing because of the place much premium on their technical and vocational education. I will pause here and then if there's more.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sorry for the each. So basically, we have actually talked about the reason for Africans seeming to be backward. We talked about trust. We're not trusting ourselves. I think before I went off, Caroline was emphasizing on the need of reselling our ideas to go outside. And coming back to what Solomon also said now and what Prof has said earlier, the root cause of all this is poverty. And one of the problem of poverty is it doesn't just affect us physically, it affects our mentality, the way we think. And it is a problem that Africa is facing and is affecting our improvement. So I understand the fact that the next question we've actually touched it in one way or the other, and that is how to decolonize our education, how to decolonize our education. The education has just been all about certificates, even the skills that are acquired during this education, they are not moving Africa forward. So how can we decolonize our education? So let me start with you, Solomon, in 1 minute max. Can you tell us how Africa colonized its education so that Africa can move forward? Thank you.
Yeah, like we can decolonize our education by, we have to also change our mindset. We are not more colonized. Remember,
hello,
African
Solomon.
continent economical we are not economical independent. Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I think what's happened here though, guys, you're asking a question for the second panelist.
Yes, I was saying that we can you hear me?
Yes,
I was saying that we
Guys, we were asking a question to somebody in Group A, which is Group B. So,
hello, can you hear me?
A question for Group B. You're asking it for a group.
Good.
Yeah, and Solomon's in Group A, Daniel.
I'm in
so
Group
Adebayo, you need to.
Yes, I'm in Group A. So you were asking a question about how can we decolonize our education? And I said that we can be able to decolonize our education by doing a lot on the technical and vocational education, like what Rwanda has started. And that is a good start. They give incentive to those who have technical schools to promote this, because China is China because of technical and vocational education. Now we need to also change our mindset, the way we look at things, the perspective of the African continent. It doesn't matter irrespective of wherever you are coming from. What matters is your idea and your passion. We should be able to have that passion to move towards our dreams, and also doing a lot, not to rely on degrees and then PhDs and all that. African can do better. And when we are given the opportunities, we will do a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much. Yes, thank you. We can hear you. So now, Caroline, what's your take on the second question? How do we decolonize?
Sorry, Daniel. Panel A is finished now. And we need to move on to panel B because no one from panel B has been included at the moment. But I think we've lost one. So there, Adebayoris, it's over to you.
Thank you.
And panel A is finished.
All right, thank you. So first I get you with me, right? And I have Sandra with me. Yeah, Sandra. Now, we've actually been talking about innovation. We've been talking about creativity. We've been talking about a whole lot of trust and loyalty and everything. But it is the high time that we move out of just the talking to the attitude of it. Now, why do you think that at this dispensation that we actually have now, why is it important to have skills than certificates? It has actually been in our norm and in our stratas, in the things of Africa, that you have to go to school, you have to get a degree, you have to get everything. But we need to look at the economical impact. How do you think it is important to possess skills than that of certificate?
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great afternoon. To answer.
Good afternoon, Sandra.
Yes.
Hello, Sandra.
Hi. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Please, can you just hold on a minute while we have Foster for that?
Okay, all right, no problem.
Yeah, awesome. Foster. All right, Sandra, you can proceed.
To answer to that question, I've actually had quite a lot of conversations around why skills are important more than certificates. So growing up in South Africa, I don't know if this is what happens in other countries, but in South Africa, we have the mentality that you have to go to school, grade 12, get your matric, from there go to varsity and then start your life. But then in actual thought, I honestly do not believe in that, because I'm a product of skills development centers myself, and I am a facilitator, and I have been actually blooming in that field. So skills are more important, because when you are in a space whereby you are required to showcase your skills, you are able to solve a lot of problems, and also you are able to come up with solutions to certain challenges that you might be facing. So unlike people who go to getting certification for something, they know more in theory than in practical. So when they go into the field, what they have is the paper, but not the practical part of everything. So they still have to go through the process of getting the skills and, putting them into place, unlike the people who have the skills. So that is, that is what I think of. That's what I think when it comes to that question, that skills are pretty much more important. Yeah.
Awesome. That's very brilliant. Do I have Ambassador Tosin around with me? Ambassador Tosin, are you with me? Oh, how about Foster? Are you with us now?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, awesome. So, like we started the other time, why do you think it's important for skills and modern certificates at this dispensation that we are in Africa?
All right. Thank you very much. I think the world has evolved, and the times where certificates and all those things are needed are gone. Those were in the 19th and 20th century. We're in a century where we're in a century that is moved by skills, that is moved by competency, that is driven by innovation. So at this very century, we'll be retrogressing if we still want to look at certificates and big degrees other than skills and competencies to drive this new century. But it's unfortunate that our educational system has been structured in such a way that it only gives you a certificate, but not equipped you with enough competencies and skills to be able to solve the problems that evolved in the 21st century. So more work must be done on our education so that it doesn't position you to be more or less like an analog sort of thinking, because we are no more in the analog world. We are now in a digital world. But our core structures, our educational structures have been structured in such a way that makes you an analog thinker in a way, but not a digital person. By equipping you with the soft skills that you need. You could have a first class, you could be but you may not have the necessary soft skills, you may not have the necessary competencies to thrive in the 21st century, which is moved by innovation, which is moved by critical thinking, which is moved by how to adopt with different group of people from around the world to solve the problems in Africa. So I think that we are in a dispensation where skills are very, very, very necessary to drive our economy and to make Africa what it's supposed to be.
That's a brilliant one. I think I love that. Do I have Ambassador Tosin along with me right now?
Yes, I'm here.
You are there. Awesome. We've actually been talking about skills, and then we've been talking about we need to move to a position whereby we need. What does it actually mean to have a young Africa in the educational system that we have today? How do we imbibe the culture, the strata into our young people? So what does it actually mean to have young people in Africa educational system?
To me, I'll say one of the things, like a lot of people who knows me, to say the main thing here is that you have to be focused. In the educational system in Africa as a whole, especially the country I am from, and even some few African countries I've been to, we realize that it's not really appreciated, and even innovations and creativity when it comes to general knowledge. Because I was marveled when I had some ideas of even solars in a shoe, and so many ideas. I've learned so many things from here. But even at the point, I felt like we need to. One of the main problem here is that we keep on talking about the innovative, we keep on talking about the ideas. We have thousands of people who are there who have the ideas, who have the innovations. Because I've met a lot of couple of people, but now the problem is what's the way forward, right? And I think the main thing here right now is for we to look into ways of how we can even improve African sectors in terms of if there can be a body like this NGO thing if it can be a regulative body to get innovatives together and see how we can implement them. Because I think I've been touched seriously. Even when she was talking about the stuff, I make a research why there, like why she was talking. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
So I make a research while I was there, and I saw how someone was talking how to digitalize prison. So it looks very funny, but I was like, no, I think averagely, what I would say to average even young people and what it takes to look like, because I know how it looks like when even you use your last card to invest in something to make it work, but it seems like not to work. But I would just say, just keep doing what you're doing, stay focused, some days somehow, I was going to say you're going to meet your helper, and that is going to make it work. Just one person, one right connections, and
Awesome.
putting everything in place to see.
Okay. Do I have? Thank you very much, Ambassador. Hope, are you there? Hope. Hello, Hope.
Sorry, Adedumla. I hope you are aware of the comment that Noneli has made, Mishak has made on the screen there. And maybe we could actually sort of try to respond to that.
Okay, all right. Hello, Mr. Barry.
Okay.
Mishak, what's your point?
Oh, hello, Mr. Barry. Can everyone hear me?
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. I was complaining about the conversation around skills, and also the fact that everyone is sort of convinced that we don't really need institutions of higher learning, certification, studying further, which is, I think, it's a mischaracterization of the problem that we have between training and applications of skills in the context of Africa. For instance, if you would observe across disciplines in Africa, the ratio of PhDs to the population is very low. So we really need PhDs. Why do we need PhDs? It's because the issues that we solve in the 21st centuries, they are quite complex. They need a higher level of training and education. How we utilize those human resources, I think, is what is in question here. Not that investing in education, in higher education and training is wrong. On the note of vocational education and training, I think South Africa is a very good case study. When we transitioned in the democratic dispensation, we funded VET a lot, vocational education and training, but the system is currently collapsing. What we are doing, we are pouring money and every day training mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and everyone. However, we are still importing in South Africa plumbers. We are still importing people who do basic electricity connections. So even shifting focus, it doesn't solve the problem. We need to, I'm not saying I'm diagnosing the problem correctly, but I'm saying there's more to this thing of education than just saying we are educating skills that we do not need. For instance, we needed people with biotech technology and bioengineering to tackle issues with COVID-19. Where are we going to get people who are going to do genetic sequencing to understand viruses if we do not train PhDs? So our problems are very complex. Yes, we need VET, but higher education and training at PhD level and master's level, we really need those people. I think that is what I wanted to offer. That's the perspective, because I felt that we think that innovation can just come out of just understanding the environment and responding by coming up with a practical applicable solution. But also it requires you to have a certain type of knowledge. For instance, moving from 3G technology to 4G technology, you can't just do it by just sitting. Maybe I'm sitting at home in my village at home, and then I come up with that. I need to go and learn physics. I need to go and learn mathematics. Then I can be able to apply my knowledge and respond to the problems that I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your comments, and I appreciate you. Please hold one moment, and I appreciate that.
I think the main core and purpose of we having this webinar particularly is number one, to discuss the way forward and to revive the spirit and to talk about the Africa that we actually want. You understand? So we are not trying to be on the loop side by not taking cognizant value to the educational system and also all of that. We are trying to talk about how we can actually balance both skills and educational competence in order for us to have the Africa that we desire. So it must be sequentially arranged. You understand what I'm saying? And then so we can come to the same equilibrium of agreement. I hope I'm able to clear that now.
Can I ask something there? Professor Little in the UK there, you put up a message, and I'd be, I don't know if everybody read it, but problem-based learning can develop skills by linking book learning to practical and relevant problems, requiring a range of perspectives, especially when combined with collaborative group working. And I don't know if everyone saw that, but Professor, if you don't mind, do you mind expanding on that from your point of view, please?
Yes, I mean, it comes from my experience working in Australia with exactly the problems just been mentioned. Australia being a country built from immigration has got into the habit of importing skills rather than training people already in the country. And I'm afraid since I was there in the last, more than 20 years ago, really the subsequent resources boom, again, a country that makes money from its agricultural and mineral resources, has actually kind of wiped out the need to really consider, has been said very often in this morning, about adding value to the natural resources of the country. But at that time, we were training students in information systems. Newcastle University in New South Wales had a medical program based entirely on exposing students to the problems of medical practice. And at an extreme, every student sat the same set of exams, the same papers at the end of each year of study, but were expected to approach them differently and in more depth as they gained their knowledge. And that's a very sort of radical end of the process, if you like. The students were given the learning, then they were faced with the real world problems and had to bridge, if you like, link them together. But I think the value is that it kind of blends a number of the issues we're talking about. That we need the PhDs, but looking at the PhDs I'm supervising at the moment, they're dealing with real world problems like the introduction of fintech, financial technologies that we've spoken about this morning, again, into an Islamic context, so they're compliant with the requirements of Sharia practice, for example. The most advanced study can still be grounded in real problems. But I think the other side of it, when we're talking about the necessity to have those softer skills, again, when students have to collaborate, and sometimes they're collaborating with students on different courses, bringing different knowledge to the problem. Again, they begin to build the depth and the context of their skills. And I think I always say to my students, the mark of a very good PhD defense is not just to understand what you've created in your own PhD, but to understand where your contribution to knowledge fits into the bigger picture. And I guess that's been my sort of philosophy. So, I appreciate the intervention. I think it's to slip into generalizations, it's to counter higher learning versus vocational learning, but obviously a balanced society blends all of these skills together, and everybody makes their contribution from their different background and perspective. But I think that the problem-based learning model is quite an interesting concept to balance against the priorities that obviously we're talking about identifying in this seminar.
So thank you for that. Now I know Hope hasn't spoken yet, but I'd specifically like Hope and Sandra to speak now, and it is a bit of a loaded statement because they've both taken part in a simulation that EIE and Hope have been, the Hope Foundation have been working on, and it does blend what Stephen said there, the problem-based learning linked to the book learning. So Hope and Sandra, Hope, are you there? Hope?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Mr. Matt.
And Sandra?
I'm here.
If you could both just talk around that with what you did in the simulation. I know you saw it, Stephen, as well, and what you thought as young Africans, how you felt the thing was working in the context of Africa. And you as well, Adebayo, because I know you took part.
Oh, okay. Thank you, everybody. And my name again, I'm Bolaji Olani, and I'm from Nigeria. Well, I have listened to a whole lot of debate about certificates versus skills. And the truth of the matter is, I'm not very much enthused that I'm not very much enthused to the narrative of the superiority of the certificate over skills, because the world has witnessed a whole lot of evolution, you know, and this informs the fact that a new world is emerging. You understand? A new world is emerging, and the question now remains that how is Africa equipping itself with the necessary wherewithal to also move along, to also evolve with the new world, to reform with the new world. Now, of course, you know, talking about certifications and all of that, you know, the certificate is just a document that certifies that you've undergone a particular training, that you've had a particular knowledge on a particular field of study. Now, I've seen a whole lot of graduates who are yet not employable, not because, of course, they've not undergone training, but how well have they developed, how well equipped are they even cope with the realities of the world of work. Now, well, if we look at it from this perspective, again, we have more than 15 to 20 million Africans that troop into the labor market virtually every year, annually. This has given us a backlog of about more than 100 million unemployed youth. Now, this tells us that this is actually a shocking number, and this tells us that there's a need for African youth whom the responsibility, who has been shouldered with the responsibility of taking Africa to the next level of industrial next level, and apart from that, job opportunities and all of that. You know, I listened to Camo, where he said he scanned the environment and was able to provide solutions to our own immediate environment. And consequently, he was able to create jobs. You understand what I'm saying? Now, this also challenges us all. This also challenges us all that there's a need for us to start equipping ourselves with the necessary skills. It's not just about going to school and graduating and saying you have a particular, you have masters, you have PhD, you've got all of those, you know, coloration and brandishing. But it's about creative thinking. Sorry, it's about critical thinking now. It's about creativity. These are the things that can bring the requisite change to Africa. Yes, of course, China as a case study. China used to be a very poor country, you know, even when you look at the GDP per capita, you are not very much inspired. You are not very much enthused. But the truth of the matter is, China at a particular point begin to think of how to solve their problem within their country. Within their country. You know, and they took this decision about 43 years ago. And we can see the evolution, we can see the revolution. By now, they've climbed the ladder of industrial power. We can see that by now, at this point now, China is now a producing economy, while Africa remains consumers of knowledge. China continues to produce, they continue to give to the world. But Africa keeps consuming. You understand? Africa believes in certificates. Africa wants to have PhD, Africa wants to have masters and all of that, and they feel complacent. They now go into the labor market, they were searching for jobs that are not there. Because when you look, it is shocking, because when you look at the shocking numbers of people who are trooping into the labor market, you would realize the fact that it is shocking. And how many of these youth, how many job opportunities do we have to actually absorb these numbers of overwhelming youth, of overwhelming unemployed youth? So this tells us that there's a need for us to start developing skills. A whole lot of things. Let's scan our environment. Let's provide solutions to immediate problems that are confronting us, just like Camo has done, and some other innovations that Africa has seen today. You know, Prof. Mahmoud mentioned the fourth industrial revolution. Yes, the fourth, you know, the world is even moving away from the fourth industrial revolution now and going into the fifth industrial revolution. What is the position of Africa? What is the contribution of Africa in this fourth industrial revolution? What are we producing? So these are the realities that are actually confronting us. You know, well, the truth of the matter is, talking about all of this, I cannot but mention the fact that yes, we have foundation and EIE Africa. EIE, of course, EIE came up with the initiative of entrepreneurial simulation. And the Hope Foundation is very much key into it because we've tested it, and we have seen the variability. We have seen the ability of we've seen what the entrepreneurial simulation is capable of doing as to how we can bring the requisite change and independent thinking, you understand, to Africa. Because change cannot come. Yes, I agree with you, and I agree with what, sorry, I might not be able to pronounce this name very clearly, Mishak, if I'm clear. I agree with the fact that knowledge is key, because knowledge is power. Without knowledge, we cannot change the world. The world has changed as a result of acquisition of knowledge, as a result of the knowledge we've gathered. As a result of the knowledge we've gathered. But the truth of the matter is that for Africa to actually reach the promised land of economic development, growth and development, there's a need for us to start building skills. What the entrepreneurial simulation stands for is to develop entrepreneurial mindset in our youth. Is to develop entrepreneurial mindset in our youth. Is to and if you look at the way the simulation is programmed, let me just give you a short overview of what it looks like. You know, I'm sure many of us must have seen the simulation game and all of that. What the simulation is that it puts you in the shoes of doing business for yourself, and you have to creatively think of how to develop the business within a particular period of time. You would see the results by yourself if you've made profit or loss. The truth of the matter is that we are very much convinced that if we can take this across Africa, we will be able to develop a massive numbers of youth, entrepreneurial youth, because it takes an entrepreneurial mindset to creatively think or about to even solve problems. So, and this is a very intention. These are very intentional. So, well, I believe that the conversation still continuing, so that I wouldn't be taking much of our time. Let me just pause here for now and give room for Sandra.
Thank you, Hope. Appreciate that. So yeah, so Sandra, I think Hope alluded to what had happened, but with what we did with the simulation and what he's hoping to get out of this. But could you just give your take on what you found as well, please, and what your delegates found?
Thank you so much, Matt. So with regards to the simulation, it's actually taking me back to what Nkamogeleng said about solving problems around where she was situated at that time. I believe that the simulation, it actually worked on the problems that we are currently facing in an economy, or yeah. However, with the way the delegates found the simulation, it was making them be open-minded about quite a lot of things when it comes to entrepreneurship, and you get to realize that this simulation is actually making them see things in a different perspective. Being the executive board member of a coffee shop, it's something that is huge. The decision making that comes along with it, it's something that is big. And then you also see the consequences of the decisions that they made. So since it's a simulation, they now understand that if this was in real life, it means that the decision that we made and the consequences that followed were just going to be something else when we presented the results afterwards. So I believe that the way the candidates found the simulation, it was really an eye-opener, and also it made them think outside the box in terms of entrepreneurship, because we have a lot of young people who are really passionate about entrepreneurship, but they do not know how to go about that, you see. So with them doing the simulation, it made it quite easy for them to get a whole picture of running a business. It was really practical. It was really practical when they were doing it, because it required them to think a lot and also come up with the reasons why they're taking that decision. From as little as making a decision of how much a cup is, you know. So that simulation, it was quite great, and facilitating it has been a great experience, because now even myself, I learned a lot of things in that. So yeah, that's my take on it, Matt.
Thank you very much, Sandra. So I think with that, and I would say, you know, we might be using this word simulation, and some of you might be a little bit confused because I know not everybody can part of it. So Barry, you're there. Do you mind just 1 minute overview of what the simulation does, especially around some of the comments that we've had, you know, bridging the gap between the book learning and problem-based learning and linking to book learning. I actually do agree that there's a lot around, there is a need for PhDs. There are You can't get away from that. But the amount of PhDs that are going to go through, and it's just in my view, are not in line with how many actual people there are. So not everybody can be a PhD, but there is a huge need for them. So yeah. So Barry, if you don't mind, just giving a quick overview. If you're still there, Barry. If you can unmute, Barry.
Myself, I'm sorry. It's because I've been listening a lot. So
that's fine.
Yeah. So I think the best summary from my side would be that a simulation is, it is always wise to make a mistake, not in a real world, So through simulation, you can learn quite a number of things because you are actually simulating, just to use the word again. Yeah. So the colleagues in that space learned quite a lot, and this one was a digital simulation, and it teaches people about leadership. It is teaching people about, as Sandra says, about understanding consequences of the decisions that you make, and it is talking about networking and all those other critical skills that you are talking about now. Because I think if we are to simplify some of the challenges that we are facing in education today, we can actually talk about the new skills that will be relevant in the fifth industrial revolution, which is simple skills like working in a team or working as a team, or networking, working with each other, as well as leadership, as I said. But on this simulation side, you learn quite a number of things because you can actually understand the market of where you are going to operate. Like, for example, today in our situations, we have malls coming up, and people never ever actually ask themselves hard questions about where they're going to place their shops, if you're going to have to place a shop somewhere. So when you open a coffee shop, what you really need to think about is the location, which people are going to be coming to your shop, to buy some stuff and to support your products. And you need to think about quite a number of things, including the impact that that mall is going to have in that particular area. But at the moment, what we normally do is that people get, for startup funds, you get about 100,000 rands or 60,000 rands, and people open up a shop, and without actually asking themselves quite a number of questions. And they end up losing a profit and blaming other colleagues or blaming their friends, because in the planning, all the kind of thoughts were not put in. Yeah. So the simulation really prepares young people to actually think through quite a number of things and challenges like those.
Okay, thank you, Barry. It maybe makes me think maybe we could do something on the simulation next. But Mishak, you're on mute there, my friend. Sorry,
Yes, I'm back.
So I apologise wholeheartedly. I took the coward's way out and called you Mishak. So sorry. I see your hand raised, sir.
Yes. I wanted to know about the simulation model. Is it based on a certain theory or case study that was ever done before and has proven that it is successful in introducing entrepreneurship to youth? Or is it something that we are experimenting with?
No, so the theory is, it's not the theory. The way that the theory works is around discovery learning, which was a theory brought by a guy called Chris Agaris many years ago. And what that is, it's learning. You come in with a set of beliefs, and when you go through a simulation, so all you're doing is you're simulating a scenario. There are many that we've got. We've spoken about the entrepreneurial one now. What you do, you discover by making decisions, and then as a facilitator, you relate back to what the book may or may not tell you. So for myself, and I'll give an example of myself with it, what I discovered was when I was at school, I was very good at maths, but I wasn't particularly good at finance, and I could never understand why. And what it was, I struggled with a lot of the terms, like the lecturer would call it sales and revenue and income and all these different words. Never once saying to me it means the same thing. Cost of sales, I never understood that. But once I'd gone through a simulated environment and I did it myself, then I understood. So it was an experience, and it's the same as falling off a bike when you're learning to ride it. It's no good someone saying you've got to pedal faster or you'll fall off. You need to fall off first, and then someone say, what you need to do is pedal, and then you understand. So the theory has been around for a long time. It's just now we've got the capability to digitize it and pull it out to the masses at an affordable price. So that's really how it works. And I hope I answered your question there.
Okay, well, one more thing. With entrepreneurship I'll speak for South Africa. I don't think African countries, particularly South Africa, we have the right funding model for entrepreneurs to facilitate the kind of entrepreneurship endeavors that go into market and bring products to market and services the way the Americans do. I'm saying this because in South Africa, you are more likely to get a seed funding to show or pitch your idea and show potentiality. But it's hardly that you find 3 or 5 or 6 investors lining up saying that for the next 6 to 10 years, we are going to fund so much and so much of your idea until you bring it to market. And if you take a look at something like Tesla that received, that was failing for over 7 years, they couldn't bring a proper product to market, but there were still people who were going up and picking up the investment year on year and year on year. And in Africa, in South Africa, all you have is just a few government programs and a few companies spending on 1% of their profit. No one is very deliberate about entrepreneurship in South Africa. It's social spending. When they do entrepreneurship with companies in South Africa and in Africa in general, for them is social spending. It's not spending to say, we actually want to see this product in the market in the next 5 years. I think that's one of the fundamental things that are hindering youth from entering into entrepreneurship. And I actually think there's a lot of young people in Africa that venture into entrepreneurship. It's just that we never see their products into market because they never arrive.
Just a bit, Matt. I can make an example of quite a number of successful entrepreneurs in South Africa who started at home in a community. There's a shoe called Batu. There's a brand called Batu. That guy, he also started very, very small. So my point in this whole thing is that
How did he start?
How did he start?
How was he funded?
I honestly believe that with the simulation being done, then it's gonna spark young people to have the mentality of entrepreneurship. Yes, we might say that some of them, they might not go through with it, but then a number of them might go through with it. So this is just a matter of them having an idea of how this actually works, and if they can solve the problems that they're having, the problems that we have around in our communities, because that is where it starts. And also remembering what I don't remember earlier on today, they mentioned that the problems that we have where we are, for example, the problems that I have here in South Africa, at Ekasis in Soweto, then it's probably the same problems that they're having maybe in Ghana or Kenya. You see, so if we solve the problem, if I come up with a solution to solve that problem, then I won't only be solving it for around that community. I have to make it a point that it also goes out there. You see, so it's a number of people. It's a number of people who pull through, who get their business out there. So it's not a matter of I actually think it's also a matter of passion. If you're not passionate about the whole point of being into entrepreneurship and all that, then obviously it will go down. Thank you.
But are we bringing products to market?
I think as well, Mishak, is I find myself agreeing, especially in a South Africa context, because you know, everywhere we hear it's entrepreneurship. We're going to start being entrepreneurs. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I agree with what you're saying. Then you're like, where do I get the seed funding from? And that is a big thing. And I was actually going to ask Prof Mucci or Camo. I'd like one of you two to perhaps come in there, because I would have thought, Camo, you've been through that experience. Oh, yeah. Being out there and looking for the funding. Yeah. Although I'm not disagreeing with Sandra, I take on board what you're saying. There are success stories. Yeah. But at the same time, it's let's build entrepreneurs, let's do it, and then the support structure is not there from a macro point of view.
Yeah, yeah.
Kamu?
Yes.
Kamu? Can you also allude to us, for instance, maybe do you have sort of a running capital for the next 3 to 5 years, and how did you get it, and how are you going to bring your product into market? Okay. Something like that.
Yeah, so I don't think you guys are debating, because both those situations actually do exist. You find people who start from the bottom and they don't have help and they grow into big companies. I think for me, I never got the seed funding actually until now. I think it's just because big institutions, it comes from the city, so there's a lot of red tape. But what I got was encouragement to actually start, encouragement to actually move. I lost a lot of money that I didn't even know that I could have access to while trying to start. And right now, the money that I'm getting, I'm still paying the debt off. I still haven't gotten the seed funding, and it shows that with passion and inspiration, you actually could start. I was motivated by the fact that people believed in my idea. I bought 50 bicycles. I learned how to code. I'm a data scientist and not a developer, but I taught myself how to code so that I can start building the app. And through that, I made a whole lot of mistakes. I think I had to sell my first load of bicycles, and that's how I started bringing money into the business. I do think that I think entrepreneurship is very complex, especially in different ideas, that you can't go for one. There is no guarantee for any seed funding for anyone, unless if you have connections. Or, you know, even if I had the seed funding, I could have lost that seed funding, and it would be up to me if I still want to push for this business. Because I made bad decisions, I lost a lot of money that could have been that seed funding. So I do think that South Africa does need people who have hope and want to actually invest in young entrepreneurs and innovators. I also think that with passion, people can be inspired to actually raise their businesses to a point where they could start making money.
Thank you. Yep. Now, guys, I feel like I'm hijacking this now. We're 40 minutes over time, 40.
Hello.
And as much as I love it, I see that.
I think I'm enjoying this conversation now.
No, so am I. So
can I say something?
Don't feel rude if anyone wants to leave. But I see Bruno's hands up.
Yeah, I think Prof is
Oh,
also
Prof, sorry, I can't. Sorry, Prof. Mucho. Sorry, Prof. Momo. Sorry, my friend. Sorry. But we are 40 minutes over at the moment, guys. So if panelists or anyone wants to drop off, we're not gonna feel disrespected.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, bro.
Yes, we can
Hello?
hear you.
Yes. Thank you very much. I heard all your discussions, and I also read the chat questions, and some of you are saying that we need to know something new. We mustn't repeat what has been said and what has been done. We need something new, some new innovation in the way also we discuss and we articulate, and also we come out with some concrete suggestions. I hope from a discussion of this kind, some very concrete recommendations should come out. I hope you will evaluate and take. I'm sure Matthew and Barry will evaluate what was going on and then come out with something concrete so we can go ahead with doing something that is productive. So I would like that. But I just want to say from my side, we have a number of initiatives that one of the things we did was when we set up this creativity entrepreneurship technology venture creation, I was a member of the mentor of in the Africa Entrepreneurship Award, so we were able to get fund. So that seed funding was our students were able to apply and then win it. So a number of them were able to win, which was very good. We also had what we called the Africa Innovation Week, where UNDP also gave us over 15, I don't know how many, a lot of money anyway. It was quite a lot. Then we are able to invite entrepreneurs or engineers and others from all over Africa. And then again, we managed to give to at least 50 of our entrepreneurs good substantial amount of money to help them to do. And I'm a member of board member of what they call International Business Incubator. So where we are still connected to this Africa Innovation Week. We do it annually. We're also discussing with UNECA, the United Nations Economic Commission, and others to see if there's a chance we can. I know the funding side is not easy, but we're thinking something like that. There's also another one from the European Commission. We had recently a discussion and I did an interview, and then in fact they have now produced it like in a paper. And the idea is how do we create Africa, Europe, but the idea is not so much a relationship like before. It's more that the practical relationships to support the real entrepreneurs and innovators and technology experts. The skills and knowledge network side is what we're focusing on. We have decided also to make sure that the relationship should not remain bring in the colonial type. We want to decolonize it completely, so that the relationship would be a new model, so that Europe also knows how to relate with Africa in a different way. So at least the good thing is that the European Commission suggested that they need to interview people like me, which is I'm very Pan-African and I don't like this colonial system and all this that happened. So, but they at least are opening up, which is quite interesting. You get more invitations from there than sometimes when you get invitation from other parts from Africa, from Africa Union or something. So we're working on some very practical things. What all I'm suggesting to us is, I hope with Barry and Matthew and all of this, with these simulation incubation ideas, we could do something practical where we do not just talk, but we generate some fund, we set it up, and then create awards for young people to actually do some very creative things. very practical things we want them to do. And if we do that, that would be very good. The other critical important thing is what you all mentioned. The education system requires a very strong change. We suggested and we sent a very good proposal for the Africa Union to create what we call the Africa Union Education Commission, like they have the Economic Commission. We told them to actually try to see if there's a comprehensive change where we can create entrepreneurial universities in Africa, and where we also integrate indigenous and all this knowledge, the problem-based, context-based, project-based, and action-based research and work and learning. Something like that we want to do. We have suggested the proposal, but I remember at that time the chair of the union was what's her name, Madeleine Zuma, but we didn't get any response. So I don't know why. We have still been sending them, but we haven't had any, because we have to do it. If we do this change on the African education system, we cannot do it one by one. I think it would be good. There's a comprehensive Africa-wide thinking where the entire way by which we do the education also brings all the other things that have been ignored. At the same time, all the new things that have to be addressed. So as you rightly put it in my lecture, how do we bring to solve problems of Africa rather than create more problems for Africa? And how do we also learn how to use all these rich resources rather than still using it as a problem for us to be at war all the time with each other? So all these things are quite critically important, but let's do it in a practical way with practical measures, practical steps, and also practical agreement, and not fighting or competing or saying, let me get advantage of this. No, there's no point. No, you should say no to money. When people ask you for money, you should say, no. I'm not interested. I'm more interested in service. So I think we also need to change all our leaderships. If they don't know how to serve the people, they shouldn't they shouldn't go for government. Why are they doing it? All this selfish agenda, all this egoism, all these things, we need to really resist it, because all leadership, governance, institutions, systems are really not very well managed in Africa, when we have so much that we can give, not to ourselves, even the whole world. We can save, Africa can save the world, not just itself. With everything it has, it's a lucky continent. We have everything. We have sunshine, everything. Our sun is a treasure. Our solar energy can give energy, electricity entirely for all of Europe, not just ourselves. We are not doing properly what we should be doing. I'm really disappointed, because there's a lot we could do if we are really continuously and genuinely engaging our youth and everyone, and so on, to go on in a good direction. But that's not happening. I hope the time will come when we'll do it. I hope you the young people, I feel honored to be joining you, and just be happy to hear your voices. And let's see if we could really be together, and then see something practical we could produce and be happy, and live for others, for the younger children also, to come up with good ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I hope now I can go.
Thank you, bro. That's wonderful.
Okay, look. So Ojo has his hand up. If we could just
and also we have Bruno from Kenya. He hasn't spoken though, but
yeah, his hand went back down.
Yeah, I think. Did you give up, Bruno? Did you give up?
Okay, thank you, guys. Oh, my question was only based on entrepreneurial skills, whereby I wanted to comment that it's all about individual. It's not all about entrepreneurial skills. It's about the passion that you implement in the business world. It's all about the strategies and the ideas that you bring to the business world. And also, I heard someone saying that you cannot start, you need to start it at a higher level. No, in terms of business, you can also start with, let's say, $20, and you can start a small business. You can also encourage others to start a small business I've seen so many people in my country, I've seen so many people in my city starting it as a grassroots level and emerging being the best in the field of business. So it's all about individual. It's not all about the skills. Your passion is what will drive your
Okay. I think we lost him. I think we should have
Joe,
yeah,
and then maybe we can wrap up after that, unless anyone else has one more question.
Okay, thank you very much. It's been an enlightening discussion since. However, I'd like to chip in a part of my thoughts, to chip in my thoughts. When I spoke the other time, I made reference to how governments have failed in Africa, and how governments has failed Africa for many years, and I attempted to make a panoramic view, a panoramic analysis of it, but there was no time. Between 1966 and 2006, Nigeria lost over $400 billion to corruption and all of that. Now, Professor Mamo was referring to government policy as well at the latter part of his most recent contribution, his last contribution. And I think we should think along that line. I simply want to propose that we think along that line because it is important. Skills are useless when government is bad. There are hundreds of thousands of Nigerians with skills, great skills. I myself trained myself in the use of skills and understanding whatever skill you might have. Yes, it's important, but government takes 90% of it. China, we've made reference to China. You can't talk about China without talking about its government, especially the fact that it has had a long history. I mean, in fact, its policies killed millions of people at the time. Someone referred to Rwanda too. It's the government. It's basically a Kagame thing, and it didn't do it individually. It did it with the power of the government. So government policy can kill innovation. A lot of Nigerians are running abroad to countries where there are opportunities to showcase their skills. So what I'm saying is that we should pay attention to government itself. We shouldn't just limit ourselves to individual training. We should also have a focus on the capture of power. Africa has 54 votes at the UN General Assembly, 17% of the world's population. Only the government can harness this properly. If we have people who think progressively in power, 99.6% of a global oil output, 90% of platinum supply, cobalt. We have 90% of what cobalt. We are using cobalt right now in our phones. So I feel that we need to pay attention to how innovative people can get into power and use that power to develop the continent. I feel that takes a large chunk of the solution to Africa looking forward, unlike presently when it is looking backward. The world is looking forward because the government of many other countries are doing well to harness the potential of its people. Israel is doing that, Japan.
Not again, not again.
Everyone seems to lose connection.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah. But we're going to have to wrap it up very soon, guys.
Okay. Can I?
Of course you can.
Okay, fine. I think from the political angle and from the leadership angle and from as well as business angle, we've actually made a viable point that could actually bring solution. But what I think we need as part of the germane point of discussion right now is that we still need, like I didn't have the time to talk about that entrepreneurship stimulation that we did with hope and trust and all of that. We need a system that's a bit such as that. It's not as if people do not have the creativity, the idea, the innovation, or something that could actually provide a solution to what we need. But the point is, has it been tested? I could remember exactly when Mr. Matt, we did that test and all of that. The results we had to show the intention of what we have. So we need to create a whole lot of system, a whole lot of stimulation, a whole lot of stuff like that, that would actually encourage people to pursue this thing more. Some ideas are realistic and some ideas are not realistic. Let's just be frank. So there must be a database, there must be a system, there must be a kind of program that can test it. And when that is tested, then so people like Prof, like Mr. Barry and all other set of people, individuals all across, can then support this thing to any length that it can be. So I think this is my own step solutions that could be, let's find the people who have this idea. Let's create a system that can test the idea. And once the idea is tested, let's move ahead to how we can actually actualize it.
Thank you. I agree with that. I really do. I think that's a good departure point for the whole thing. And we do need to test it, and we do need to show that there are solutions there that can solidify and bring these ideas together. But guys, we're an hour over now, so you know we've got people far and wide here. Some people in the afternoon, late in the afternoon now. So the panelists, speakers, people who have contributed, listened, I found it very enjoyable. And I would thank on behalf of EIE and Hope Foundation. Thank you very much for joining us today. We hope you find it valuable. We are going to put another one together soon, just based on what's pulled out of this discussion, because yeah, I think there's some bits here where, and some topics where I've certainly found where we're going to need to look at things in more depth. So thank you all. Really do appreciate it. Thanks, Hope, for your time, and the moderators and everybody, honestly. Thank you so much indeed. I hope everybody's got the email addresses of Hope and myself, because if you want to ask any questions or have any more information, then yeah, just pop us an email and we'll be more than happy to engage. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. Yeah, an hour over. Thank you very much, all of you. Yeah, enjoy your Saturdays, and take care and stay safe. I'm sounding like Momo there. Stephen's laughing, he's getting all those. But thank you, really do appreciate it. From myself, Barry, Hope, and everybody else at the foundation in Nigeria, thank you. And take care, stay safe. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, you're welcome.